So the Baltimore Ravens just made an absolutely crucial move, signing back veteran edge player Kyle Van Noy, coming off a 9-sack season. Plus, we got some Ravens at the facility putting in some work. We got some trades around the conference, some Ravens free agency updates, and much more. So welcome in to another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock, as always, bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Baltimore Ravens today. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Before we dive into the content, shout out to the Orioles, starting off the season 4-2 with that monster walk-off yesterday with James McCann. So shout out to the Orioles, shout out to Coffee. Let's dive into the content. At number 1, before we talk about Kyle Van Noy coming back, I love to see this. We got some guys like Travis Jones and Marlon Humphrey who are hungry, putting in work at the Ravens facility. Now, I know guys work around all around the world. They put in the work. They have their off-season routine and training schedule and all that stuff. But I love to see guys in the Ravens facility, especially getting that chemistry together, working out together, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears. And I'm just excited for Travis Jones, the type of season that he could have. Here's the clip.
Yeah, tell him, flex one time. Yeah, hey, big boy, big boy.
I'm expecting a big year out of Travis Jones. I think he has the tools and has flashed the abilities with some very explosive, disruptive plays, both as a pass rusher and a run defender. I think he has the tools to be a top 5, top 10 type of nose tackle in this league, especially developing and playing behind a guy like Michael Pierce, who the Ravens are bringing back. Just a reminder, the Ravens are bringing back their entire starting defensive line. Michael Pierce, Travis Jones, Brent Urban, Broderick Washington, Justin Madubuike. It's going to be a really good defensive line, and Travis Jones is going to be a big part of that. Love to see the work he's putting in. Love to see him and Marlon Humphrey messing around, building that chemistry together. And at number 2, let's talk about the big move here, the reason why we wanted to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible. Kyle Van Noy is back, all right? So Kyle Van Noy, he finished 25th in the entire NFL among edge defenders in pass rush win rate last season. Plus, he had 9 sacks in only 14 games. So if he had a full season, if he would have played 17, 18 games, there's no questioning that he would have been a double-digit sack producer on the Ravens. It's absolutely absurd how he was able to come off the couch, 33 years old, and have the production that he had. Not only is he an effective pass rusher and coming off a career year, he also said he feels like he's in his prime. He also is an excellent leader, is an awesome locker room type of guy, vibes type of guy, and he thrives in that Sam role. He can drop into coverage. He's even had history playing middle linebacker before. So a guy that can pass rush, drop in coverage, very versatile. I love bringing back Kyle Van Noy. It takes a weight off the shoulders, for an edge early in the draft. Now, not that you still can't go that direction. If there's a guy that you really like, maybe a Trop Robinson or a Jared Verse in the first round, maybe the Ravens pull the trigger. But the necessity to get more bodies simply in the edge room has been lifted a little bit, right? Because now you got Odafe Owe, David Ojabo, you got Tavius Robinson, your 4th-round pick from last year, and then you got the veteran Kyle Van Noy, who just produced 9 sacks for you last season. And what's really encouraging as well is you look at the top 2 edge rushers on the Ravens right now, Odafe Owe and Kyle Van Noy. Both of these players last year were top 25 in pass rush win rate. Now, pass rush win rate and disruption does not always equal sacks. So some other things have to line up. The amount of sacks that you produce is not always indicative to how good you are as a pass rusher. Although we like to see the production, we like to see the sacks. Odafe Owe, with 5 sacks last year, actually had a higher pass rush win rate and was 13th in the NFL among all edge defenders with a 17.3% pass rush win rate. So 2 in the top 25 there with Owe and Kyle Van Noy. Then you got some young, hungry guys like David Ojabo and Tavius Robinson, Malik Ham behind those guys. And I'm still expecting the Ravens to probably add another veteran at some point, whether it's during training camp or expect to see one more edge rusher added in the draft as well at some point through the 7th rounds. So Kyle Van Noy back on the Ravens. I absolutely love it. Great move. At number 3, let's talk about what Ladd McConkey, the University of Georgia wide receiver, said about his former offensive coordinator when they were together at Georgia. He said, "He'll get the best out of you. His thing is everything matters, whether it's practice, walkthroughs.
Yeah, he'll get the best out of you. His thing is everything matters, and that's from walkthroughs to school to meetings to practice. That's his thing. Like, everything matters. It doesn't matter. I know he probably kept that motto going into the NFL, and I mean, he produced this year, and I know they're probably only going to get better.
Ladd McConkey is projected to go in the late first, early second round range. And it's kind of intriguing, the thought of bringing Ladd McConkey in to play with Lamar Jackson and reunite with his former offensive coordinator, who he won 2 national championships with, and Todd Monken. Todd Monken entering in the second year with this offense could be some fun. I love Ladd McConkey. I think he's a top 5 wide receiver prospect. I think he's underrated. He ran in the 4.3s. He had explosive jumps. He's an elite route runner. He was super productive in college. He can threaten vertically. He can get open underneath. He can play slot. He can play outside. But I don't know what it is, why people are not as high on Ladd McConkey with all of the elite traits that he has displayed and tested through so far in the pre-draft process. But at number 4, speaking of wide receivers, let's talk about what the Houston Texans just did to improve their football team. Now, we're going to bring this up because the Texans and the Bills involved in this trade with Stephon Diggs are AFC rivals. They're going to be in the playoffs, 9 times out of 10. These are 2 really good football teams. You look at the top quarterbacks around the league, and C.J. Stroud and Josh Allen are right there in the mix, along with Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow. The AFC is loaded, and the Ravens have to get through the AFC if they want to get to where they want to go. In fact, they just saw the Texans last year in the conference game. The Texans kept it close in the first half, tied up. I think it was 10-10 going into the second half. The Ravens pulled away. They got the job done, made it to the AFC Championship, first time to ever host it in Baltimore before falling short. But the Texans, they got a whole lot better this year. They just traded a second-round pick to the Buffalo Bills for wide receiver Stephon Diggs. Now, I want to also address this because I saw a lot of upset Ravens fans saying, man, if the Texans could send a second-round pick for Stephon Diggs, why couldn't the Ravens do it, man? Why don't the Ravens go after these star wide receivers, right? Well, just let me remind you that Stephon Diggs, he had a large salary cap hit that the Ravens can't really afford this year. The Ravens only have $12 million in cap space. They're going to need, $9 to $10 million of that for their rookie draft class. But besides the cap implications, Stephon Diggs is getting older in his career. He's over 30 now. And quite frankly, I don't think he's a great locker room fit. Stephon Diggs has had several outbursts, throwing his helmet around whenever he gets a lack of targets. And I don't want to have that problem whenever we have other guys in the offense to feature like Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. You want to get Derrick Henry, his carries. You want to get, your second-year, player Zay Flowers and Nelson Aguilar and Rashad Bateman and other playmakers of football. You don't want a selfish player to take away from the team mentality and take away from the overall locker room vibe that the Ravens have built in their locker room over the last couple of years. You just don't want that. But what I thought was funny, what I put out on Twitter, is I'm like, what? The Bills only got a second-round pick for Stephon Diggs? I mean, we're talking about a multiple Pro Bowl, All-Pro type of player, year in and year out, having 1,000 yards every season. An elite wide receiver, a top 5 receiver in the league. But a second-round pick. And I was like, dude, wait, what? We got our first-round pick for Hollywood Brown, who only had one 1,000-yard season in his career, and that only time was with the Baltimore Ravens. And I really didn't think much of it when I put the tweet out. I thought it was just kind of interesting. But it has 112,000 views and 100 retweets or something right now. Absolutely absurd, because just a reminder of some of the work Eric DeCosta has done. I can't believe we got a first-round pick for Hollywood Brown that, a couple of years ago to the Arizona Cardinals. And we'll talk about this more in another video, but the Ravens wide receiver room is looking good. I like the core that's there. I still want the Ravens to obviously add some more depth, some more young talent, maybe another veteran. You can never have enough weapons, but I will say that Daniel Jeremiah said in an interview with Ryan Mink and Garrett Downing on the Lounge podcast that this year's wide receiver class is just crazy. He's like, you're going to get guys in the 4th, 5th, 3rd rounds. Like, there's going to be tons of talent besides just the guys that go on day 1. And there's a lot of guys that I really like for possible day 2 and day 3 targets for the Ravens, which we'll dive into in a later video. But at number 5, speaking of some more free agents and signing Kyle Van Noy and all this good stuff, here's a list of the remaining free agents that the Ravens have not signed, and they've not signed with another football team. So we got Dalvin Cook, J.K. Dobbins, Daryl Worley, and Rocky Ya-Sin. So Rocky Ya-Sin, the cornerback, we signed to I think around a $7 million, $6 million deal or something like that last year. We were really excited about the signing, but he never really played a lot. Ronald Darby beat him out. Ronald Darby really took all the snaps that I thought Rocky Ya-Sin was going to get whenever we originally signed Rock. Daryl Worley used to be a corner for us. He switched to safety. He's a special teamer. I'd love to see him back on a very small veteran minimum type of deal. J.K. Dobbins, we know he's been taking visits. I've heard some interest from the Chargers. He had a visit with the Chiefs that ultimately ended without a deal. I think J.K. Dobbins and the Ravens are I think they're going to part ways and look for fresh scenery, especially with the Ravens signing Derrick Henry. And then Dalvin Cook, that's an interesting one because you're going to need another running back, in the room, just depending on what happens in the draft. You can't go into the season with just Justice Hill and Derrick Henry as your 2 healthy backs, because Keaton Mitchell may not come back until later in the season, November, December, January, type of time frame. We just don't know how healthy, how quickly Keaton Mitchell is going to recover. So that definitely leaves room for a 3rd running back, whether that's Dalvin Cook, another free agent, or if they add some young talent in the draft. The Ravens definitely going to have to add another body into the running back room. So let me know what you guys think about possible free agent targets that are still out there. Let me know what you guys think about the wide receiver position, possible targets in the draft, as well as bringing back Kyle Van Noy. Man, smash the like button if you enjoyed today's content. If you got any value out of today's video, it really helps out the channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell so we can keep you up to date on all of your Baltimore Ravens news and content. I love you guys, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.